he's the main suspect, but he walks free tonight. Why is that? We'll be right back. Last weekend in Portland, Oregon, Saturday night, a man identified as Michael Forrest Reinall apparently murdered a Trump supporter called Aaron J. Danielson. Reinall, who has a BLM tattoo on his neck, a closed fist, just in case you're wondering what side he was on, apparently opened fire after someone called out Danielson's location. Here's video of what happened. So people on the internet almost immediately identified Reinall, long before the authorities seemed to. Police later confirmed he is the main suspect in all of this. But he has not been arrested. He is still out there somewhere. What's interesting, a week later, is that he's giving interviews to the media. Here's one he gave to Vice from an undisclosed location. Watch.
I feel it's important that the world at least gets a little bit of what's really going on, because there's been a lot of propaganda put out there. I had no choice. I mean, I had a choice. I could have sat there and watched them kill a friend of mine of color, but I wasn't going to do that.
Wait a second. Did that guy just admit to murdering someone on TV? Where the hell are the authorities? What is going on? Chandler Pappas was there when it happened. He was a close friend of Aaron J. Danielson's. He was standing right there when he was murdered. He tried to save his friend's life. He joins us tonight. Thanks so much for coming on with us this evening. I appreciate it. So before I ask you about the tragedy that you saw, let me ask you about the man who apparently did it, giving an interview to Vice, apparently admitting that he did it, and remaining at large tonight. What do you make of that?
Well, I think their whole campaign is disinformation. I don't think that they are going to produce anything. I know they will not be able to produce anything to corroborate that story whatsoever.
Corroborate the story that this man, Reinall, is apparently telling that there was an attack on an African-American or something like that. But just the fact that here you have a videotaped murder of a man, that's beyond dispute. The chief suspect is talking to Vice. Why isn't he in custody? Does that shake your confidence in the justice system in Oregon?
No, I lost confidence in the justice system here a long time ago. Mike Schmidt has continued to let all of these charges go. People are throwing explosive devices at Homeland Security and being let off. Joey Gibson's still facing charges for inciting a riot over a year ago for peacefully protesting in front of an Antifa bar and then being assaulted. This is completely one-sided out here. It's corrupt like you see in the movies.
It sounds it. So just to bottom line the charges, and it's complex, but essentially your friend was assassinated. Again, we don't need to debate that. It's on video. And now you are somehow the villain and he is somehow the villain in the story. What are they saying?
I don't pay attention to everything that they're saying. I know that they came up behind us, they shot my friend and killed him.
Oh. Was there warning? I mean, were you in the middle of a dispute before this happened?
No.
Or what? Tell us the circumstances, if you would.
Just the yelling. I mean, when they started yelling at us, we turned around, and I mean, I didn't even have time to register that somebody was pointing a gun at us before the shots went off.
But do you recognize the man who pulled the trigger?
Yeah.
And is it this man? We have his picture on the screen, who the police say is the main suspect?
Yeah, I mean, mostly what you see is a white blur. I recognize that he was a white guy, and what significantly stood out to me is that he was the only person downtown that night, other than myself, wearing a white shirt.
Huh. What were they screaming at you before they murdered your friend?
Like, we got a couple right here, we got a couple right here. Pull it out, pull it out. And then and you turn around and you don't quite understand what's going on. And before I got a chance to process anything, it was over.
Did you point a firearm at them?
I don't bring my firearms downtown because I don't go down there with the intent to hurt people. We occasionally bring bear spray to keep them off of us. That's, you can see in that video, that big cloud of smoke. They shot him through his can of bear mace.
So you were unarmed, they were armed. They didn't demand anything, they just identified you and assassinated your friend.
Yeah, this hat's a pretty big target out there. This hat, a MAGA hat, anything that's pro-American, pro-patriot.
It's unbelievable. Why do you think they did this?
Hatred. I think this country needs a lot of healing. I think everything that's going on downtown, for the pawns that are down there destroying the city, I think they're just fueled with hatred.
Your friend has been denounced, as you know. I think even Joe Biden called him a white supremacist or suggested that he was. What kind of person was he, Jay Danielson?
Anybody who knew Jay knew him by his smile. He was the happiest, like most compassionate, first to buy you a drink kind of guy that you would ever meet. He got along with everybody.
It's a shocking story. Chandler Pappas, I appreciate your coming on. I hope you'll come back. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.